Well, so the implications have been clearly laid out. Joining me now on Zoom is former Member of Parliament for Kumbungu, Ras Mubarak. He's joining us via Zoom. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. So here we are. The date has been set by the Privileges Committee. The expectation is that the committee will begin to hear the cases. But, I mean, judging from your experience in Parliament, do you see this ending anytime soon?
Well, I mean, good afternoon. The members of the committee are men with a lot of integrity, and I'm hopeful that the outcome would be in the best national interest. I am hopeful that members of parliament who have breached our laws would be made to face the consequences, just as the ordinary Ghanaian, So it's a clear case, a clear-cut issue. Obviously, if people decided not to avail themselves, then that would further complicate their issue, and I do not think that we should spend so much time on this particular issue, because in any jurisdiction, there's no government a country that will put up with this kind of behavior, where people are paid at the end of the month, yet they decide not to come to work and decide not to explain to Parliament why they are unable to come to work. If you were running your private business and your workers did not avail themselves to work, you would have cause to relieve them of their position, So Parliament has a lot of work to do in terms of restoring public trust in its work. And I am very, very confident and hopeful that the committee will do justice to the issue.
The belief was that there was wide consensus on the matter in Parliament, and yet we're finding even some members of your political party, your side of the House at the time and now as well, for instance, the Minority Chief Whip Ras Mubarak, who's gone public to criticize the Speaker on his decision to refer the MPs to the Privileges Committee. So it appears there's no consensus as of now.
Well, the leadership of the minority in Parliament has lost touch, so there's no two ways about that. And I don't think we should waste time, discussing the leadership of the minority, especially
crucial.
When we look. I'm sorry?
You agree that these voices are crucial in whatever decision that may be taking in the coming days?
I expect that members of the Privileges Committee would defy whatever order would come from any quarter, not to put the national interest first. We're talking about the best interest of Mother Ghana. People are paying their taxes. And when they do pay their taxes, they expect, elected legislators to be in the House and discharge or dispense of the business of, running Parliament. And so if a few people have decided, to disobey the laws, anyone who stands in their way stands in the way of the committee in discharging its duty should be, disregarded. I obviously, like many other Ghanaians, are very disappointed with the posturing of the minority in Parliament, and I am very confident because there are a lot of men on the minority side who are on the Privileges Committee with a lot of integrity. Their integrity would be on the line. Now, this would be a test of whether or not they are serious about putting the national interest first. And I am confident that at the end of the day, those with the best intent of putting the national interest would win over those who are not interested in the national. Who are not interested in the national interest.
But Ras, to be fair, even the time during which you were in Parliament, we know that there was the issue of absenteeism. It's not necessarily new, and in fact, looking at some of the names that we have. You have, for instance, the Greater Accra Regional Minister. We know that he's not been too well. And also Kennedy Ejapon as well. Some of these persons publicly have stated on record their health conditions. So it appears that may be an easy way out for these two individuals.
That cannot be an extenuating circumstance. That cannot be a way out. That cannot be an excuse. As a matter of fact, if the president were to be incapacitated in discharging his duties as the president of the republic, the Constitution enjoins us, to have him replaced. So I don't see why we would make excuses for members of Parliament. And
I believe specifically you're being fixated on Adjo Asafo, right? Because these two MPs you're talking about.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, all the persons who have been named, have been very good friends of mine. The Honorable Kenny Japan was my committee chair when I was in Parliament on the Communications Committee. We have a very good relationship. I served on the same committee with the Honorable Kojo Kum. Ajoy and I are good friends, and so is the regional minister. But when it comes to what is in the best interest of Ghana, we can't put our relationships above what is in the best interest of Ghana. And I see anyone who stands in the way of a committee's work, to make sure we restore public trust in politics as not, putting the national interest first. And again, I'll reiterate, if anyone from either side decide to railroad or stampede the process, I would expect that members of the committee who are men and women of integrity would defy, such persons who are not putting the national interest first.
And I guess all of this, you're very much conversant with the processes. Even if the committee approves some sanctions, that may go before plenary if there is any form of division. So the question is,
well,
do you see...
Opinion is divided on that. I mean, there's one school of thought that believes that once the committee decides, that should be the end of the matter.
But at least we're setting that, looking at the nature of individuals involved in this case, this would definitely go to plenary, and there's a likelihood, very clear indications that it may not pass the test.
You're making it sound as if certain persons, above the law. Well, they may as well be persons who punch above their weight, but certainly not above the laws of our country, and there should be no exception. If the president is incapacitated, he will be replaced, and so must any other, a person who is paid from the public purse. And I would be exceedingly disappointed if we were to make excuses for persons, who can discharge of their work.
Okay, then we need to go, but finally...
The public expects better from our elected legislators.
All right, then we need to go, but finally, you've spoken of the fond memories you have of Sarah Adjasafo. At least she has another opportunity to appear before Parliament. At least she's been elected. So what's your expectation of her? At least we know that the invite has been sent to all members of Parliament. Do you feel, and do you sense that she'll turn up?
To be honest with you, I've been disappointed in her because how long has she been away for? I've lost count. Anyone with an ounce of integrity would step aside. In any serious democracy, that is what would happen. You can't hold on to a job for how long now? And whatever the excuses, your constituents deserve to be represented. So if there are situations that clash with your ability to be in Parliament, the just thing for your constituents would be for you to step aside. That would be, putting integrity above any other consideration. On that score, she had failed woefully, and it's disappointing because I had a lot of confidence that, look, in as much as she lost the job of being a member of Parliament, there should come a time when you can put that aside if there are conflicting interests.
Well, let's see how that will go, but I'm grateful that you've been able to spend some time with us here on The Pulse. I'm grateful. Ras Mubarak there. Now, let's talk politics. Of course, the internal contest of the New Patriotic Party is heating up as all candidates aspiring for the national leadership roles in the governing NPP have less than 2 months, or let's say a month, to the national elections. I'm talking about the executive level. We'll talk all about that and more right after this break. Please stay with us.